Welcome. Thank you all for being here. My name is Corey Rosenblum, and it's actually a great pleasure to be here and teach this important foundational course for investing. And the genesis of this course was Jeffrey's conversation with friends, other business colleagues, and they had said, well, this stock market thing, this investing thing, what exactly is it? How do you do this? You know, I'm a doctor or I'm a pharmacist, I'm successful with sales, whatever I do I'm good at that, but this investing thing, I don't really understand it. Maybe there's knowledge I don't have. Maybe there's other aspects of this I don't just get. So Jeffrey asked me, from my background, our friendship and experience together, just as traders and meeting people in the business, and of course our own personal experiences, about really how do you do this thing? How do you invest? How does this work? Is this for me? Is it hard? You know, what kind of aspects are we going to look at? Fundamental analysis? Warren Buffett? What are all these terms? And a lot of times the terms are what trip us up in the investment world. So PE ratios, what is that? Any kind of balance sheet? Do I have to be an accountant? Do I have to be an attorney? What do I have to do to understand these things? Is it even possible? So I'm happy to be a part of the team here, and we created this initial training. We're going to keep it really simple and keep it foundational and build from the core up from there. And so we'll start, where do we start exactly? So the stock market course will begin with analyzing the market. That's a big deal. We're going to take it step by step, make it easier, make it piece by piece. And you can do this. We'll move into planning a strategy, which is going to be my interest. That's what I do on a daily basis. I'm a planner, I'm a strategist, I'm a market analyst, I'm a trader. And my background, as we'll see, is a lot of fundamental analysis to technical analysis. What is that? We'll break it all down. We'll discuss that, but a lot of it's planning. The other part, and a lot of people get tripped up with this part, is execution. And that's not in a sense of killing anything, just to put something in motion. We're going to execute the plan, analyze the market, plan the strategy, execute the plan, put it into practice. And then the fun part really is monitoring the investments as it goes through. And so what we'll do for the course in this intro module, and what we'll talk about the next few sessions that you're with us here, is to learn the basics. This isn't going to be some investment 520 or investment 300 or whatever the case is. It's going to be basics, fundamental, foundational, and simple, understandable. So we'll follow along. We'll actually give you assignments that you can take and use on your own terms, on your own computer, on your own time, and use those really each time with each lesson. And that's really important. Don't just listen, be active in your learning. So take these things we talk about, put them into practice, and see if they work. Some of them might not. You may not be surprised to know that there's different ways to invest and different things that we talk about as investors. There's actually competition. My way's better, you're better. Well, see what works for you. That's what's most important. Not about what we say or what Jeffrey says or even what Warren Buffett says for that matter. Make sure this works for your particular environment, your particular situation, planning for retirement, looking to build a nest egg, looking to buy a house, whatever the case you're looking to do for your investment. See if that works, put it into practice, and we'll help you with that. And so by the end of the course, this looks like a lot of text, but really all it says is you will be able to, if you stick around, if you follow along, and if you play at home, analyze the stock market, plan your strategies, and execute your plan. That's really all it says. That's your big three. And we'll see how the professionals do it. See what they do differently. And they do. They think differently, they ask different questions, and they have different experiences than we would have if we're getting new in this. Now, stock market investing is not brain surgery, but it's just the fact that there are steps you take, there are things that you learn first, and you build on, and eventually you practice them, and you become proficient. So the way the professional thinks and the way the new person thinks will bridge that gap for us. So we'll know if a stock is doing well at a glance like that. Is Apple better than something else, than Samsung? Is Google better than Yahoo? How do you measure that metric? And if we had to pick those two companies, which one would we buy? Find a good price. So of course, selecting stocks is first, comparing stocks, quickly. Find a good price. Value. We'll talk about what that means. Don't just buy something good, buy it cheap. So we'll see how that plays into the stock market here. But more than just places to buy. And if you watch TV, you watch the TV networks, financial news, you'll hear a lot of buy, buy, buy. This stock is great. This stock is wonderful. This stock is great for your portfolio. You've got to have it now. They don't really tell you when to sell, especially if the stock goes down. They always say buy more, right? It's going down, it's cheaper. That's not always the case in the stock market. So even good companies can be too expensive. Even bad companies, which we think are a value or bargain, maybe it costs $5, that's actually cheap. So we'll compare expensive, cheap, buying, selling. We'll move on to planning, which is again what I like to do. It's fun. So that's really just being a strategist. Game planning, plotting out the price, buying and selling when odds, like poker or gambling or those sort of games of chance or sports for that matter. We'll compare poker, probabilities, and figure out when the odds are in our favor. And the best ways to buy and the best ways to sell. And without hesitation, once you build this foundation, at the end of it, you put it to work for even better odds. So finally, well, through the presentation, as we work together through this minefield or battlefield of the stock market, is understanding where a stock is trading in its current cycle. What's a cycle? We'll talk about that. Learn the chart factors. What's a chart? What makes sense? What is irrelevant? And news that go along with each phase. And identify which trades work best with a phase. I think the actual goal is to be objective. Emotions. If you ever heard psychology plays a role, fear and greed, those sort of factors. Greed does certain things, it gets us overconfidence. Fear does the opposite, it puts us into a state of paralysis. We don't want that. So we'll actually talk a little bit toward the end about emotion. So how much can you make? What's possible? That's kind of the big thing. How rich can I get? Look at all the smiles. Yeah. How rich can I get doing this? How much money can I make? We'll talk about that. And can I really do this? And of course, is this a potential thing for me? So that's what we're looking to do. What's reasonable to expect as I get started? So we'll focus on those throughout the presentation too. And so for me, who is this Corey guy? What am I doing? How am I here? So that's my background was this. I entered the stock market challenge we all had to do in our high school. It was something that was fun, part of government class, learning about the stock market as a young sort of student. What is this thing? So we did the stock market challenge. And that's basically where we go out and ask our parents or read the newspaper. The internet wasn't that popular, I guess, at that time in terms of all the things we have today in 2014. But still, there was web resources. Mostly it was in the newspaper. But looking at stock prices, analyzing those. So that's got me into it. Surprisingly, we won. My team won that challenge. So it's not unsurprising, I guess, that initial experience got me hooked on the market and really interested in what can I do and how much money can I make. What was also nice was that my dad did that. So he was an investor, and so he kind of taught me a lot of what he knew, his experiences, and that led me to invest with him and sort of trade together, like a father-son team, and doing Warren Buffett stuff. We'll talk about that, which is investing. That was 98 to 03. That was the bear market, right? That was the up in the tech bubble, down in the bear market when the prices went down, the tech bubble crash, all those things. And we had made money and were successful, but I thought there was some other way to figure out how to avoid these bear markets, get away from these sell phases, and how do we do that? To me, that was charts and what we call charting or technical analysis. Don't worry about that word. We'll talk about it later. So I became a hybrid. I used fundamental analysis, balance sheets and PE ratios and all that, I guess you would call boring stuff, with the charts. And to me, the charts were a lot more fun. So I was traded both strategies. Then I became a full-time trader after graduate school, 2007. 7 years later now, that's where I am. As a full-time professional, I wouldn't say day trader, short-term trader with day trades mixed in there. But I still have this background. I still do enjoy this, but it's a lot more practical to me to be a trader than an investor. But don't worry about that just yet. So my background, just kind of briefly, is in psychology, political science. Did a grad school, did some programs in Washington D.C. Internship in public affairs. And the CMT thing isn't really country music television. Chartered Market Technician is basically a graduate school designation for technical analysis, charting, essentially. I'm the author of the complete trading course from Wiley Trading, and from Huntsville, Alabama, and moved to here in Los Angeles, California. So trading and investing can fulfill your dreams. It's been a long-term goal of mine since I was a child to move to California. So for me personally, the stock sessions, we have the Facebook, Twitter, and all that. For me, Corey, I'm accessed at afraidtotrade.com, Facebook, Corey Rosenblum, Twitter, @afraidtotrade, and just email, which I love to hear from members or from anybody interested in stocks or trading, at Corey@afraidtotrade.com.